Hello, you're watching TVP World News. I'm Ellias Aghili. Under the Trump administration, the US foreign policy is undergoing a major readjustment, as exemplified by the partial dismantling of USAID, with uncertainty still lingering as to what will happen after the 90-day pause in foreign support programs. Yet an even greater challenge now awaits the Trump team, with efforts to rein in Iran's nuclear program being mired in complex interactions between both superpowers and regional players. Joining us here today is Ellias Aghili Dehnavi, political scientist from the Adam Mickiewicz University. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Hello and good morning to our dear audience.
So let's begin briefly with USAID. It has been announced that the pause would last for 90 days, yet the vast majority of employees are actually supposed not to have their contracts renewed. To put it bluntly, they were fired. So what's next for USAID?
Well, the USAID program and all the related issues, first of all, are having domestic sources. I mean, there's a domestic chaos regarding the US aid in different sectors of the Trump administration. So first of all, we have to consider this fact that the internal conflicts in the political arena of the United States is causing all this chaos and fluctuations. Well, of course, the blueprints started from the under the Biden's administration, but they have continued now. So what to expect next is not that much promising. The US aid absolutely will be reduced and rechanneled through different means. So the previous forms that we have been witnessing, I mean, the previous generation, of course, not our generation, since 1961 and after the foreign assistance aid that was ratified by the US Congress, won't continue in its old-fashioned way, at least under the new US administration. So we can witness a new stream and new channels of support, but in a new way and through the policy of America First and the Trump Americans.
So what you're saying is that some of the programs may actually continue following review, because that was what was written in the presidential order, essentially, and I quote, "Resumption of paused development assistance funding. New obligations and disbursements of foreign development assistance funds may resume for a program prior to the end of the 90-day period if a review is conducted." But what you're saying is that there will be perhaps different institutional framework within which such programs may carry on.
Most probably, the new channels of support will kind of exclude the support channel towards the NGOs, towards some local institutions that were mostly concerned regarding the actions of democratization in the Central European states and also Western Balkans. There will be reduced budgets regarding the humanitarian helps and aids. And the helps and US aids will be more focused on the hard politics rather than the soft, politics. So we will have, of course, we'll have a reduction in the media support, a reduction in open journalism, and this is going to affect the soft power arena. Of any regions that have previously received this fund. So unfortunately, we will have a soft power vacuum, and it's going to be a very new threatening phenomena and incident after all this reduction in the US aid.
One quick question before we move on to the Iran deal. Do you think that the words also included in the same document that I just quoted, "No further United States foreign assistance shall be disbursed in a manner that is not fully aligned with the foreign policy of the President of the United States," does that signal a politicization of aid, or is this merely a reflection of the desire to simply have everything synchronized and not have programs running without supervision?
Well, the answer is both. Both of your arguments that you've just quoted from the recent paper is actually correct. First of all, we are seeing some portions of ideology being mixed with the new order. And at the same time, the supervision are, of course, stricter under Trump's administration. And we are seeing Elon Musk also helping Trump and his administration to scrutinize all the dollars and the foreign aids being channeled to different regions of the world. So both factors are actually being involved. Trump ideology or doctrine, that is Americanism or America First, is playing here, and at the same time the supervisions have been more constrained. So both factors and both elements are highlighted.
So Trump's slogan has always been America First, but he has also been described, well, self-described, one could say, as the man who follows the art of the deal and implements it in practice. Do you think that the art of the deal basically holds up, given what's happening with regards to the Iran negotiations? Would you say there are any positive signals now?
Well, I want to actually add a very brief kind of annex to my previous argument regarding Trump administration and his ideology and foreign policy. I should say that if he's a trader, then this actually we are actually witnessing a paradox, because when we reduce the budget to help our allies in the areas of Russian influence, that technically the Americans are endangering their foreign policy, because when there is a vacuum of soft power, then the countries will be, I mean, those countries receiving the fund will be more vulnerable in front of the foreign influence. And by foreign influence, I'm directly referring to Russian influence. When there is a vacuum of power, soft power, then they will interact. And the second question regarding the Iran negotiation, we've been witnessing everything from a close angle. Progresses have been made during the first two rounds, and Trump is actually trying to reach a fast, pragmatic deal. This is also in line with his, pragmatism, with his slogans, and with his presidential campaign slogans, saying that I will stop the war, I will reach a deal with the Iranian government if I become the president. So we can see that he's following that lead. Fast, pragmatic, and without much attention to the result, but the process itself and the media coverage. The third round is going to happen soon and is, of course, more focused on the technical issues of the Iranian nuclear program. Both sides, especially the American sides, have emphasized that the talks have been positive, and but we should be concerned that we are at the outset of the negotiation. Diplomatic negotiations, especially when it comes to technical issues, definitely will have their own difficulties. So this is just a very complicated issue, and if I want to share my kind of expert opinion regarding this negotiation and the result, I should say that no immediate result is kind of predicted. So anything about immediate result, anything about a fast agreement has more a kind of media usage for the both pro-government or pro-state sponsors in these two countries.
What do you think about the argument that the deal, as it looks like now, might result in Russia being empowered as a regional player, but also as an arbiter of possible deal breaches, including possibly being the destination for uranium stockpiles from Iran? Wouldn't that essentially allow Russia to exercise another leverage, essentially saying, well, if something doesn't go our way, we might just hand over the stockpiles back to Iran?
Well, unfortunately, the Russians have always been, since the beginning of JCPOA, they were actually the bad guys, and they were trying to sabotage the deals and everything that was not their way. So from the very beginning, they were trying to exercise their influence over the negotiations, over the Iranian diplomats and also the foreign ministry to include their interests into all deals. I don't know if you remember or audience remember or not, but the Russian representative was not presented when all the countries' representatives were posing under their flags when the JCPOA was actually agreed on. So that was a diplomatic sign that if we are not happy with any kind of negotiation or any kind of talks, then we won't be presented. And there is this saying that says that if I'm not counted in, then I will tear it apart. So if they're not included in the body and spirit of this agreement, then most probably they will try to sabotage it. And to wrap up the answer to your question, I should say that absolutely yes. They will, of course, try to cultivate and kind of flourish their influence over Tehran in two ways. First, they will try to persuade the Iranian politicians that if you do or if you act based on what we say or in accordance to what we say, then we will definitely kind of deviate any attacks towards the nuclear sides. And on the other hand, they will try to persuade the Iranian politicians and diplomats that we will also help you in in the UN Security Council or the International Atomic Agency if there is any resolution, if there is any draft resolution against your nuclear deal, your nuclear programs.
Some commentators are actually suggesting that the negotiations could lead up to a deal that might not be that much different from the JCPOA. Now, the original JCPOA from 2015 was a deal that Trump totally didn't like. He walked out from this deal. He called it the worst deal in history. Do you think the irony of it all could be that he might essentially end up with something very similar to that deal?
Well, it's actually very probable because, I mean, the GCPOA negotiations and talks were indeed very long, and it was a huge and enormous diplomatic effort. So I personally don't think that during 2 months or 3 months, they can talk about all these technical and diplomatic dimensions and angles of the Iranian nuclear program. So most probably they will try to modify the previous JCPOA. You're absolutely correct, but the role of some other players will be more highlighted in any new form of deal, especially Israel, because Israel is pressing the U.S. government that they were not, their role was not highlighted in the previous nuclear agreement. There will be also the regional players, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and other regional actors who want to have more prominent roles in the nuclear negotiations. So we can see that these new talks are more focused on the role of new agents, and the role of agency is more highlighted in these talks. So we probably might have we won't have the same exact JCPOA, but probably we will have a modified version of the previously agreed agreement with the kind of inclusion of the new players and the new agencies.
One final question. What if there is no deal? Do you think a military option is still on the table? Trump has quite expressly signaled that this might be the case.
Well, unfortunately, any military intervention is, let's say it can be inevitable if the nuclear deals halt or if they reach a dead end alley. I don't think that Americans can or have the controlling means anymore to contain Israel from any military operation. So it's possible that the Americans don't intervene personally, but we are not sure about the Israeli side. It's probable that the Israelis conduct some limited military operation through their received support from the American allies in the Persian Gulf, because the Americans have already deployed their naval squads and also their strategic bombers in the region, in the Far East Indian Ocean islands, and some other strategic points around Persian Gulf. So indirectly, the Americans might be involved. And directly, we can see that Israelis have already planned a limited military operation. So The answer is a yes, but not a strong yes, because we should believe in the power of diplomacy, we should believe in the power of negotiations. But if negotiations won't work, and from the contents and also the rhetorics that we've been hearing for the past 2 months, a military limited operation is still on the table. But really, let's not hope for such a consequence.
So, focus on diplomacy, but with a sword of Damocles hanging above Iran. Ellias Aghili Dehnavi was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and I wish you a pleasant day.
And I'm Adam Mickiewicz. You're watching TVP World. Please do stay with us.